Hello, testing, testing, making sure that everyone can hear us. Let us know in the chat if all of us are coming in. Hi, oh my god, we have a bunch of viewers already. Hi, Meepy. Hello, hi. Meepy comes on the live streams a lot. Hello. Yes, so today for the live stream, we have a very, very special show. This is the debut episode of the Cootie Cast, a new monthly show here on the Madeline Maye YouTube channel where me and a good friend of mine talk about feminine works, feminine media, basically. I'm sure you know who I am. It's my channel, and I'm super famous, obviously. But let me introduce my co-host. She is a licensed therapist. She is a incredible musician, artist extraordinaire. She made the thumbnail that you see for this this episode. Please give a warm welcome to Jess Lynne.
Thank you, and I appreciate the warm intro.
Of course. Well, you came up with the concept for the podcast.
To be fair, it came out of a conversation where I was frustrated that a lot of women's media isn't taken seriously. Also, you'll see our roaming co-hosts. We have 3 dogs in the room with us: Mozart, Tchaikovsky, and Calliope. So if they come by, we'll be sure and tell them hello.
Yeah, they're big, so you're not going to miss them. They will cover the screen when they walk by. But yeah, so the format of these is that each month, I think either Jess or I are going to pick something that we really, really care about. It's always a piece of media that is targeted towards women and femme-presenting people. And this time, it is Jess's turn. Hi, this is Mo. Hello. Jess, why don't you tell everyone what we're going to be talking about today?
Sure. So today we watched Josie and the Pussycats, the movie from 2001. And this is going to be a fun one because clearly I'm a fan of Archie comics. I was a big fan of the movie when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And Madeline hadn't seen it until recently.
I just saw it today in preparation for this live stream. And wow, I wish somebody told me it was the greatest movie ever made.
The movie will tell you. Don't worry.
That's right. Yeah, the movie will just straight up tell you, and that you have to like this movie. It's great. It's the thing you have to watch.
It's also how you know that subliminal messaging in movies didn't really work, because the movie, unfortunately, at the time, bombed.
Yes. See, they should have saved the subliminal messaging for seeing the movie Josie and the Pussycats. Maybe that was the problem all along. But Jess, why don't you give us a little rundown for people who haven't seen the movie, what it's about and what's going on?
Sounds good. So, as I briefly alluded to, Josie and the Pussycats is originally a comic book. It was a comic book from the Archie Comics line in 1962. And it ran fairly successfully for over 20 years or so. And then in the 70s, there was a cartoon series, which they did like a first season regular, like Josie and the Pussycats, which became like a mystery solving crew. And then they did a second season where they sent them to outer space.
As was the style at the time.
Because reasons.
Hanna-Barbera during that era really liked putting characters into space or solving mysteries.
And they did both with this one. It was very much more like Scooby-Doo than it was like the format of the comic, which was more slice of life. They didn't even have a band at first, and Valerie was introduced later. One cool fun fact about the show: the character of Valerie is actually the first African-American female character, African-American character, period, who was voiced by a black actor at the time that was regularly occurring on TV. There were a few others that were like recurring characters, but she was main cast.
That's interesting. Oh my God. Yeah, it took to the 70s to have a black actor voice a black character in a cartoon. It's very cool.
Racism, it sure is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to talk more about that.
Very excited.
Yeah, there are a few things with this movie which we'll get into when we get there. But so the movie came out in 2001. It was directed and written by Harry Elfont and Deborah Kaplan, who are the team that were also behind Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it featured like some of the biggest stars of that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid. This was Rosario Dawson's like first big movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we had a bunch of side actors, Alan Cumming, Missy Pyle, Seth Green is in there.
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey is like really bringing it in this
Oh,
one.
man. She, it's fun to see, like, indie darling Parker Posey be in something like this, which I guess became an indie movie accidentally, even though it was definitely trying to be something that made a lot of money.
Yeah. I kind of alluded to it before, but the budget was around $30 million and it made about 15, so did not do very well at the time. The director said at the time, like, they were marketing it for a different audience. They didn't realize it was going to be marketed toward preteen girls, and they felt like the people who were watching it weren't going to get the messaging behind the movie. Which, would you like to spoil what the big idea behind this movie is, Madeline?
Well, the movie is a commentary on advertising culture and I guess sellout culture, more broadly.
I found this really funny. I have like my millions of Wikipedia pages here because I did too much research. But they did like a plot summary of the movie, and it was basically like a 1-sentence summary. And it was, Josie and the Pussycats gets famous and finds out that the music industry doesn't have their best interests at heart.
It's exactly what it's about. Wow.
Right?
Wow. Perfect.
Boiling it down.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I thought when I saw the movie. Like, yeah.
So
I don't know. Did the Mega media write that? The corporation, the movie, write that?
It's Wikipedia, so it's possible.
Yeah.
They could be putting subliminal messages into our Wikipedia pages now.
Yeah. So there's actually there's two movies going on, right? One is kind of a I guess kind of a coming of age, like friendship movie between these three girls that have known each other forever. They're in their, late teens, early 20s, presumably out of college, out of high school at least. And they have a band and they want to get big, and they kind of, go on these little adventures. There's a lot of just straight up like music videos kind of placed in it. It gave me kind of like a Spice World or like an early Beatles movie kind of vibe.
Yeah, actually, that's how Roger Ebert thought of the movie. He gave it a 0.5 star and said it was slightly smarter than Spice World, but who cares about that?
Spice World is also an incredible movie. Stay tuned, maybe. Maybe stay tuned. That could be another one that we do.
I mean, hey, if you have great ideas for media that is targeting or about women and girls that we're going to take seriously, put them in the chat. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of chat, we've got the fans of Josie and the Pussycats coming in with their favorite quotes.
Okay.
Meepy says, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And when the going gets tough,
make lemonade.
Make lemonade."
I want you to know I cannot read the screen from here.
Oh no, I'm filtering everything, so don't worry. I will tell you if somebody asks a question for you. I am taking care of all the technical stuff.
I was more like be impressed with my memory because that's such a great quote. So thank you, Meepy.
Oh, she didn't write the rest of the quote, is what I'm saying.
I see.
She just did ... Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's one of the movies, and the other movie is a very silly, kind of something out of like an old Nickelodeon movie. Like I feel like Good Burger had the same plot. I don't even remember what happens in Good Burger. I assume it's the same thing. Where it's like there's an evil corporation that's like trying to brainwash kids and take over the world or something. It's got a very Austin Powers vibe, which I think came out around the same time.
Give or take, yeah.
I want to say it's kind of Zoolander-esque.
It's so there's the A plot, which, as Madeline's saying, it's like the coming of age friendship story. There's also a romance, and it's like small town musicians who are getting famous, and what do they do with the fame? And there's the B plot, which is going on in the background, which kind of is also the A plot. But it's interwoven with themes of anti-capitalism, criticisms of the music industry, exploitation, and just so much product placement. And the product placement is kind of a character in and of itself. I was originally going to try and count the different like ads, and I could not do it. Like I lost it first scene because like du jour is in the Target plane, and I'm just like it was too beautiful. I just couldn't.
It really is like amazing because in a movie like this really feels like the best way to do product placement because the movie is about advertising and how like we're told what to buy, sell, and do. And if there was just only a little bit of product placement, it would be hypocritical. But because there is more product placement than anything else, it actually becomes brilliant again. I think it's actually an incredible choice just to put in so much stuff because it does really stress like the irony and satire of this, you know, movie targeted for preteen girls, which is, I think, so incredible.
Yeah, well, and I think what's even more incredible, because I'm doing the research on this one, is all those products, they didn't get any like ad money for it at all. It was solely to make a commentary.
Oh, okay, but I mean, they had to get the permission at least from the companies, right?
That part I don't know, but I'm assuming they did. I mean, they have all of them there, and they reference their brands, but they also fully used real brands, like, and that was kind of a brave stance, especially when you're dealing with like Archie Comics properties. So I am a big Archie Comics fan. I got into them when I was like 12 or 13. So I guess a little bit of backstory around me. I am also Indigenous. I grew up on a reservation in a very rural part of the world, and we had like one TV that had 3 channels. So I didn't get to watch a whole lot of TV, and one time I was homesick, and my mom bought me an Archie comic, and I kind of became obsessed. So for Archie comics in general, they are really good about doing almost names, like where they're clear what they're referencing, but it's not actually the name of. So like they'll call a Coke like a Kook or something like that, where it's like you're clearly referencing something and it's got like a red and white can, but it's not Coca-Cola. But Josie and the Pussycats, the movie, it full on goes. All of the like references, they're all real brands. You know, it's Target, it's Sephora, there's, you know, Big Mac, Sega, all of it.
Yeah, Sega to me was the funniest one because the Dreamcast was still out. And there's a very prominent ad for Space Channel 5, which has now become its own kind of cult classic video game. So for me, as like one of the few people that bought the Dreamcast and was very sad when it didn't do well, good for them. Sega believed that they could have their own stadium. Good for in America. Good for them. That's extremely cool.
The Sega Dreamcast is the best console ever.
That's right. I will not hear any arguments to the contrary. That's completely true.
But so at this point, we'll actually go into like the real plot. So you kind of have like the broad overview of the themes, and we'll pepper in some more of the history and fun stuff as we go. But basically, the movie opens with a Backstreet Boys / NSYNC / 90s boy band extended parody that is also a legitimate banger.
Oh my God, yeah. Bad Boy Lover is so good. Oh my God.
Backdoor Lover, excuse you.
I thought it was Bad Boy Lover. I just misheard the
Backdoor. So
Backdoor Lover. Oh wow, that's even better. I just misheard what they said. I thought they said Bad Boy Lover.
As someone who has spent far too long listening to the soundtrack, which was probably the most successful piece of this movie when it first came out, because the soundtrack actually hit Billboard charts. And it was recorded. The lead singer, I'm sorry to spoil anyone, it's not actually Rachel Lee Cook. It is Kay Hanley from Letters to Cleo.
And the music is amazing. Like even this pastiche of like a boy band song sounds to me like as good as like the real boy band songs. Like it is extremely funny, and also all of the members of Du Jour are like just the perfect relics of 2001. Like it's Seth Green, the most 2001 actor of all time. It's the guy from Scrubs,
Donald Faison.
Yeah.
That one I actually remembered on my own without looking up. I want you all to be very impressed.
Very impressed.
And also from Clueless, just by the way.
Yeah, no, also from Clueless. And then the third actor whose name I never remember, but he was like all over the place.
And also in Clueless, Travis from Clueless. That's Breckenmeyer. And that one I did have to look up.
Yes. He's just in. Yeah, he's been in just so many different things. And
then there's the other dude who I describe as Discount Ethan Hawke. He's, I'm sure, a very nice man, and we wish him all the best.
He has the best lines. He's like, "Du jour means friendship."
So they do this parody music video with a legitimately good song. It's also extremely funny. They're all like wearing feather boas. One of them has a monkey, which becomes a huge plot point.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go on the plane after having the signing. Alan Cumming is there, looking extremely sinister in an amazing Karen wig.
Yes. Oh my God. Just a beautiful outfit. Everything. I love that the monkey's name is Dr. Zaius. That's incredible.
Oh, also, du jour is extremely funny. It also, so for those of you who speak French, it means like day of the day, like the soup du jour special of the day.
Yeah.
So it's a reference to like how everything is like so quick and transactional.
Yeah, it's all exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. It's basically just saying like, this is 15 minutes of fame kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. But the problem is that du jour accidentally discovers that they're brainwashing people. So, of course, Alan Cumming and the pilot have to parachute out of the airplane so that it crashes and kills all the boy band members.
Though, before that, we are treated to a truly amazing scene of Breckenmeyer just starting trouble with all of the other members.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, like everyone just hates him and hates each other. It's extremely funny.
And also, if you remember the timeline, they've probably been together for, maybe a month?
If that, yeah. Again, that's kind of another reoccurring theme, is that the fame happens very quickly. They get famous very quickly. And, from there we go into where we meet the Josie and the Pussycats through this montage where they sing, I guess, the biggest song from the movie, right? Or one of the bigger songs from the movie?
There are a bunch. I mean, and you described it earlier. They do like a bunch of mini music videos. They kind of break through the film and then just do a music video. So they start out with you being introduced to the characters, and then they play their song. And then they're in a bowling alley and no one is there to watch them.
Mm-hmm. And it's like legitimately a really good song. This has always been a weird pet peeve of mine. That I always get like bothered when a movie is like about like a fake artist, or it's something kind of like a satire or whatever like this, and the artist makes like a song and it's like, that's the best song ever made, and I'm like, no, that song sucks. I don't believe that's the best song ever made. That's terrible. You're just telling me, but I would never listen to that. But, like, this actually has really good songs that I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see that totally making it to the top of the charts. And I appreciate that because I don't see that. It's very rare to see in a movie about, like, a fake musician or whatever where they actually play a song that's like, oh, that's really good. That's actually a good song.
And honestly, like, it did chart. I think it made it to, like, a lot of the songs in the soundtrack made it to number 15 in the Billboard chart.
Wow! Oh my God! Especially again, this was a huge bomb of a film. That's really impressive.
Yes, I am just trying to look up the song order because it's bugging me that I didn't remember off the top of my head. I believe this one was Three Small Words.
Yeah, 6 full hours. Yeah. Great song. I immediately fell in love with it. I love there is. They do manage to catch this kind of realism between the actresses, or this kind of playfulness. Like, I don't know what the actual production was like on the set, but it feels like people were having a lot of fun making the movie, because you really did get the sense of, like, those music videos were like the members of the band are just like goofing around and having fun, even though these are all just actresses kind of playing these characters.
Yeah, and it really comes through if you, spoilers for the end, in the end of the movie, kind of like all of the classic cartoons and stuff, they play the original theme song as like their modern rock version and then show outtakes.
Yeah.
So then you see them all like cracking up and laughing with each other.
Yeah. Which is really cute. I was really kind of fascinated by the tonal shifts that happen, because these moments of Josie and the Pussycats, together, they're very funny, but there's kind of a sense of like realism or honesty that is so different from like the wacky, like spy thriller kind of plot that's going on.
Yeah, no, this movie, it manages to both be wacky and silly and also emotionally honest.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do want to backtrack 1 second, because Alan Cumming, who is amazing and I love in all things, but also the way that his character Wyatt gets rid of the bands who discover the secret when they find the backing track selling stuff is to quote other musics, like famous songs. So he tells the pilot, take the Chevy to the levee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was Smells Like Teen Spirit was another one. Yeah, that's really funny. I'm actually just noticing that. That's really funny. Yeah, I like that.
So
there's a lot of music references, and they do kind of range throughout the entire gamut of genres. It's not just pop songs. It's not just like rock songs. Like there was a whole reference, which I thought was cool. Yeah, like you could tell the people who made this like know music. Like
they got Biff naked on the backing tracks too.
Yeah,
like she was one of the background singers along with Tara Reid and Rosario Dawson. Rachel Lee Cook has said that she does not sing.
Aw, she fooled me. She did a great job.
They actually sent all the actors to learn to play music so they could like realistic mimic. So anyway, okay, so they play at the bowling alley. They leave. Josie is upset that they're not getting anywhere. Valerie comforts her, and you can see like there's a real connection between them as friends. And young Rosario Dawson looking great. We love.
Oh, we stan. Yeah, the only correct actor in the history of time.
Sure.
Look it up. It's fine. Do you know what I'm...
Nope.
Anyway, what I like about Rosario Dawson in this role, and I've always noticed this, she plays this kind of... She has this naturalness about her that's like so specific to her as an actress. Like when she like gets mad or gets excited, it doesn't really feel like acting. And I mean that as a compliment. It does feel like this is just like a person naturally reacting to things. And I've always thought she was really good at doing that.
I mean, I think the whole movie was really well cast. Like she did a great job, and kind of sticking with, I guess, probably more of like the cartoon theme. Valerie is the one who's immediately suspicious. So she did a really good job of like playing in like the one that's kind of figuring things out while getting stymied the whole time. Because Wyatt is definitely targeting Valerie. And then also I think Rachel Lee Cook did a good job, Singing or No. And Tara Reid, this is the role she was born to play.
She was my favorite.
She was Melody.
Melody was my favorite character because like she's played like the typical ditzy blonde girl, but she's actually like smart at the same time, which I thought was really cool. Because, like, her character was given so much more depth than a character like that, like, actually gets. Like, she's not actually dumb, even though she kind of plays the dumb character. Like, she does, like, come up with, like, a lot of interesting lines, and she has, like, a lot of interesting analysis that end up becoming proven true.
Oh yeah, she's got this profound sense that where she's not on the same wavelength as everybody else, but she is seeing something that's really there. So.
Exactly, yeah. Which I just loved it. I don't know, just something about her I just really connected with. She was my favorite of the Pussycats for sure.
Yeah, I mean, of the Pussycats, mine's probably Valerie, but I have a different favorite character, so we'll see. You'll probably get it when I describe that character.
Right. I have some guesses. Anyway, but after the bowling,
there are 3 fangirls that come in with the biggest fisheye lens ever.
Man, I miss fisheye lens. We need to bring that back.
to highlight just how much they hate these girls and just how ugly they are.
Oh, and just to answer a chat question, yes, Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka in the live action Star Wars. For those who are wondering, yeah, she is getting a great career comeback after, again, being proven right. So, anyway,
still going strong, still looking great.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the mean girls. Valerie comforts Josie, and then we kind of get like Josie doing like a little dress up scene, and then we meet Alan M., the hottest guy in Riverdale.
That's right, Alan M. Everyone loves Alan.
Man, Riverdale must be really hard up before Archie.
Oh my God. Before Riverdale got infested with the sex demon that cursed the town, Alan M. was the hottest guy in Riverdale.
And
we're getting a lot of heart reacts to that. We love Alan M. We love him in the chat. I like him because he comes so close to being like the typical obnoxious, white guy with a guitar. But there is like an earnestness to him that was surprising to me. Like, maybe it's because I've been there myself, but like his introduction where he's just like playing guitar and coming up with like words to like things that are happening. Like, I have done that as a songwriter myself, and I'm sure it was very annoying to people.
We love you, Madeline.
We love you too.
Yeah, so in the comics and also in the cartoon, he's a folk singer, and then gets drug along as a roadie when they get famous, which is a very funny little nod to all of that, like him being a roadie. That's how Josie sneaks him in when they get famous. But they have like a genuinely cute moment where Josie's fixing his car and like he's singing songs to her, and it's a really nice meet cute where he's striking that chord between being lovable and being oblivious.
There was just to backtrack a little bit, in the previous scene where they're getting made fun of by the popular girls, I guess. There's this little moment where Melody interacts with is Valerie or who's Rosario Dawson's character? Valerie. That's like she kind of like not really grabs, but kind of leans up to her. There was something like really like feminine friendship about like this little tiny moment that was only a couple seconds long, but I don't know. To me, it really kind of showed that the people making this like knew what like friendships between girls was like. It felt really authentic in a way that, a lot of times when these films are not made by women, you don't really get kind of these little interactions like that.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you can really tell like a woman was the co-writer and co-director of this movie, and it really shines through. And the people who wrote it know and care about women, and it you see it.
There's really no sexualization at all in the movie.
Well,
besides like
there's a little bit of body shaming that comes in, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But that part, and what I loved about that part, is that it's really treated as something very odd. Like, this is something bad and something to be suspicious of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not normalized.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So scooting forward, so they have their meet cute moment. They're having like some sort of meal where they're all sharing ramen because these girls are also best friends who live together who are poor. Which I can identify with.
We love that. We love actually seeing poor characters in movies.
With a very nice house trailer with 60s, 70s decor.
It feels like it was in a state where a house like that is probably like nothing, versus here in California where anything like that is $1,000 million. We get to meet their manager.
The manager, Alexander Cabot III, and his twin sister, Alexandra.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you talk about these characters a little bit?
So these are both characters from the comic. They're both characters that actually started in the comic because some characters were introduced later. So like the ones that you see from the main cast that came out were, it's Josie, Melody, Alexander, and Alexandra. And all the rest of them came in later. And the role in kind of the comics and the show to an extent is Alexander takes on being the manager. He's also kind of a coward and a sleazeball, and he's always trying to get with Josie, even though she's all into L&M. And Alexandra is trying to get with L&M too. So that doesn't Alexander and Josie don't really have anything going on, which I think was for the best. But he's definitely a comic relief character who is easily influenced and showing off how much he owns. He missed their bowling alley gig because he was buying du jour tickets. And Missy Pyle coming in strong, playing Alexandra Cabot, doing all of the acting with her entire face. She was just like so bitchy. I loved her.
Yes. I figured this was one of your favorite characters. I loved her too. Yeah, she I guess she plays this character that like we're not supposed to like, and I guess there's this implication that she's like the quote unquote ugly friend or like weird friend or something like that, which you know, again, like I really like the character. I wasn't always sure what the film thought about her as a character, if that makes sense, but like I thought she did a great job. And that's the same actress from Legally Blonde, right? Or am I thinking of a different actress?
I'm not sure who you mean in Legally Blonde, but she's been in a million things. Like she was in Big Fish. She was in.
Right. I was thinking if she was the other lawyer, in that movie.
I think that's Selma Blair.
Oh, I don't think Selma Blair, but anyway, let us know in the chat what else. What was the actress's name?
Missy Pyle.
What else Missy Pyle has been in?
Yeah, but she does a great job. I personally felt like the movie treated her where. She was a mean girl for sure. They also immediately, like the twins, get introduced making a breast implant, penile implant joke. Mm-hmm. So, like, definitely mean girl, but she's also the one that drives a lot of the plot forward, which I think that also came through, like, in the show, if you watch the cartoon, because I did. She was always the one to, like, come up with a scheme that usually started the whole mystery and got them into trouble. She's the one that's the reason they go to outer space.
Uh-huh. I like the line where they're like, why are you on the tour? And she's like, 'cause I'm in the comic.
yeah. This movie knows
funny.
what it is.
It very much knows it's Josie and the Pussycats. Like, this wasn't just, I mean, I guess it kind of was a cash-in, but the people who made it, like, knew the source material. Like, backwards and forwards, for sure.
Yeah, well, and I think, like, the movie was advertised toward little girls, as I mentioned, but this movie, like, it's got themes and depth, and I think it should have been for, like, you know, late teens, people in their early 20s, and that would have really, like, hit it home. Granted, I saw this movie as a teen and loved it anyway, so there are some of us that were, like,
yay,
early adopters. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Josie again gets discouraged. She's, like, the one really pushing to have the musician career because their manager missed their concert to go buy du jour tickets. And then they get breaking MTV news.
Yeah, du jour have mysteriously vanished after a plane crash and are presumed dead, basically.
And Melody points out they're not dead. They're missing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Melody also is like, we should go search for them. And, like, you know what? Melody is on point all the time. Again, justice for Melody. Justice for du jour. The best pop band that never was.
I miss their feather boas already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Du jour means friendship.
Du jour means family. Meanwhile, Wyatt goes into a record store and points out that he's with the label and has the du jour's last CD, the Slave Mix.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we find out that the messaging that's being put into these tracks is meant to make people buy products.
And it does a demonstration immediately. Like, you hear, like, they immediately play the music, and at first everyone's like, oh, this is so sad. We love du jour. Also, orange is the new pink. Totally jerkin'.
Yeah, jerkin comes from a much larger scene later on where we find out that...
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. There's a lot going on.
But I did love, like, there are two dudes who are talking who are like, we must buy an orange thing. And then the other dude's like, yeah, and I want to buy a Zima. And the other dude's like, You don't drink. I think I'm gonna start.
That's how you know this was not made for preteens. This was a.
I mean, that and the penile implant joke.
No. This is very cool. Very good.
Like, preteen me had no idea what the hell that was.
Yep.
So, anyway, so also while he's at this music store, presumably in like a mall or somewhere, there's a goth girl who's coming up like, I hate that. I can't stand that music. And Wyatt, Alan Cumming, is like, oh, you're a real free thinker, huh? And this is where the smells like Teen Spirit line comes in.
Yeah, and they basically just capture her and throw her into a truck, never to be seen again.
Until she is.
Yeah.
And so then Wyatt is on the phone with the mysterious Fiona, and he is in deep trouble because he lost his last band, and they need another band to sell more stuff.
They need a band right now from Riverdale. And there is only one band in Riverdale.
Yes, who are setting up a show in front of, I think it's a Banana Republic.
Yeah, they're busking.
Busking.
Busking. And yeah, the Banana Republic immediately is like, get out of here.
I need to sell new things. They're orange.
Yeah, I need to sell the orange things. Banana Republic is orange now. And so they run in front of Alan Cumming's car, and he's like, oh, they have instruments. This is fate. This is the band. He picks up a CD case to like frame them. Very much like the old director doing the kind of square thing.
As the song "Cold and Lonely in the Deep Dark Night" plays in the background, very dramatically. It's beautiful. So he gets into a Starbucks with them, and I love this line. He says, like, I am all in. He's like, I am a big fan of the Pussy Hat Dolls. Oh, Pussy Hats.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Pussy Hats. Pussycat Dolls is an actual band.
Yeah, so this movie overall ages really, really well. But there are a few things where you can see foreshadowing, like the Pussycats as the Pussycat Dolls. Again, all things Riverdale all the time, which just like it hits you different after knowing that show exists.
Yeah, I mean it is unfortunate, but I did like the Pussy Hat joke, because they're like, no, we're the Pussycats. And he's like, oh, that explains why you're not wearing them.
Hats, I mean.
Yeah, hats. But then we would get the pink pussy hats years later in the Women's March. So just prophetic.
All things come around.
All things. Circle. It's like a poem. It rhymes.
There you go. So everyone is like, this is really weird. Don't you want to hear us play? And Alan Cumming is like, no, why would I need to? Do you want this opportunity or not? Sign on the dotted line. So they run to have an all-girls conference in the bathroom where Alex tries to crash and then is immediately kicked out because they're looking for their period stuff, and periods are gross.
They are. Tampons? More like, get that shit away from me.
Yeah, we all know tampons, boys' kryptonite. And then Missy Pyle again as Alexandra doing the best face acting. So they decide to go through with it. They go back onto the plane, which I think is now a Motorola plane, not a Target plane, because that was the du jour plane. You see,
it's a new plane because that plane was destroyed.
Right. So now there are cell phones on all the walls of this plane.
Yes. This is where we get the great line of like, why are you here? So I'm in the comic kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Josie's also smuggled Alan M on to be their roadie. That's where that comes in. And then they have the girls in the band have a touching moment of, showing their bus pass where they're all three in together.
Just so cute. Yeah, I did love that moment. They're just friends. Like, I really believed the friendship of these three girls, and that, that's hard. Like, the chemistry between the actresses is so good.
It's
like,
really
you really
good.
do believe that they've known each other for years.
It's also insane to me that they the other actor they almost cast for Valerie was going to be Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She read for it twice.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, like
what else was she in?
TLC.
That would have
that
would have been very interesting.
But anyway. So they have a touching friendship moment of remember the bus pass. And one thing I will also say about the movie structurally, it's very tight. Like this movie, everything it references, it comes back somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, also, friend of the channel, Trevor McMahon is streaming on his channel, but he was nice enough to come in and say hi and have fun. So check out Media Processing. That's another great video essay channel that I highly recommend.
Preferably after you watch this one.
Yes, please don't leave until we're done.
But if you do, we understand.
This is the time to use your VPNs. Otherwise, we are going to track your IP addresses and know which of you did not finish this podcast. And we will send CDs with slave mixes on them.
I was waiting to see where you went with that.
I was trying to think, like, what Josie reference can I put into this joke off the top of my head? And I didn't. I'm going to say I stuck the landing. I think that's an attitude.
It was beautiful. You know, we're waiting for all the subliminal messages.
Beautiful. Thank you.
It's true, and I love your hair.
Thank you. I love your hair. Oh my God. Yeah.
This is women supporting women.
This is how girls are friends. All right. We need to stop tearing each other down. We can't let Mega. What was the name of the record company? It's Mega Corp or something like that.
I completely forgot.
It's Mega. It's like Mega something.
Mega Records.
Mega Records. Right.
This is why I have my notes in front of me.
Mm-hmm. So, let's skip a bit. Let's talk about what Mega Records and this Megacorp is.
Well, and that's where they get right into it.
Hell yeah.
So at this point, we get introduced to the mysterious Fiona, or Parker Posey, and that was her pose.
Not to be confused with Posey Parker, because oh my God.
Yeah, that's a very different reference.
Very different person.
One we support, one we don't.
What? Because every time I say Parker Posey, I have to really make sure I'm saying it right. Like, oh God, if I say these names in the wrong way, I am invoking Satan. So I need to.
So you have to say Parker Posey three times to cancel it out, rather than the other way around.
Parker Posey, not Posey Parker.
You have to do it again.
Fudge.
Good catch.
Fudgesicles. Parker Posey. Parker Posey. Okay.
So
anyway.
And she has some fashion in this movie.
Oh my God. Fiona is an icon, and we stan. Oh my God. I guess she was given one acting direction, which was slay, so good for her.
I mean,
yeah.
Yes, she has a group of people from the government and foreigners that come into her office, where she wipes away sand from her evil keyboard, where she lowers her office down into their Mega Records HQ. Mm-hmm.
I like that some of the foreign dignitaries were Saudi Arabian princes, someone from China, just a person from China. History is very, very much a circle.
It's true. Mm-hmm. She's also, I mentioned her fashion is on point. She is wearing a denim patch dress with like feathers sticking out that make the most awesome Foley sounds when she turns. It just goes.
Yes. And they hit people all around her, and it's great. But basically, their plan is that they have been this organization that has orchestrated, I guess, every popular thing ever, or something like that.
And also the demise of every popular thing ever. And they've created a whole TV show about it.
Yeah, called VH1 Behind the Music, which, again, like, it's hard to know, like, how much these companies knew. You have to think they knew probably more than we wish they did. But it's still extremely funny to see, like, VH1 and Target and McDonald's kind of like being
MTV.
used, and MTV being used in this way, and very much being just satirized to hell and back. So
yeah, so they explain their evil plot. Mr. Movie Phone does the voice of all of the subliminal messaging.
God, for kids that are younger, this Movie Phone was a person you would call that would tell you the times of movies. Back in the day, this was before you could go to just Fandango. This is before every theater was bought by AMC.
And he spoke very much like this.
If you'd like to buy tickets for this movie, press 1 now.
Yeah.
This is God, payphones were around when this was. was happening. Yeah.
We were alive then.
We were young.
I am ageless. It's fine.
I take a drug that makes me younger. So I'm going through
That's
the best case Benjamin Button disease.
There you go.
So the one that's actually cool and not whatever happened to Benjamin Button.
I mean, that's what HRT does for you
Yeah.
kids. That's why all the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah, no, it's nothing about the girl stuff's nice, but it's really just I live forever now. Girl stuff is just a perk. That's just a nice addition.
This is how you become your very own anime waifu.
I have the hair for it.
It's true.
This is natural. I didn't dye this.
Just meant to be a
This
mermaid.
is HRT. It has for mermaid edition hormone treatment.
There we go. Anyway, so then we see like very much like merchants of cool of all of these older people deciding all of the slang things that are going into what Mr. Movie Phone is saying. And the goth kids who are chained up, including the one we saw who got captured earlier.
Yeah.
Just repeating everything with no personality.
Yeah, basically trying to ruin everyone's imaginations and personalities, making everyone into just another product to be sold to, which is really incredible, especially like 2001. That really is like the decade that goth specifically were like so targeted and made into like corporate mainstream bullshit. Like it really is, it just precinct. It just knew. It knew. It just, it read the tea leaves. It was there. It knew where things were going.
Yes, they got the cultural zeitgeist for sure.
Yeah.
And Bono got it.
Yeah. Bono got it. Yep.
That is a real thing. So the directors of the movie, like when it flopped, they felt really bad. And Bono came up to them and was like, "We love your film." So what they would say to each other for years before they realized it was a cult film, before like it had this big internet following, was, "At least Bono gets it."
Yeah. Hey, Bono was still relevant in 2001. I believe 2001 Bono would like this movie.
I mean, apparently he did. 'Cause
Yeah.
he thought it was a great send-up of the music industry.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you two have always been about that, at least since the 90s. With Achtung Baby was kind of their, and then the Zoo tour, which did not turn out well. But they do get it. They understand like what it means to be a star and to be an image, to be a product, to be sold. So that is fun. Good for Bono. I don't normally say good for Bono, but good for
we have mixed feelings about Bono on this podcast.
Bono is a series of ups and downs.
Life is a flat circle.
Yeah.
Moving right along. So Josie and the Pussycats get into the fancy recording studio, which looks very much like a padded cell. And they get to see the mega sound, which Wyatt shows them. And their music sounds really nice as they play through it. And then they immediately start talking about wanting the ads that are played subliminally.
Yes.
And then we get our probably our biggest music video in the movie, which is "Pretend to Be Nice."
Great song, great music video. They're all getting styled to look like pop stars.
They're doing like a fake car wash. They're climbing the Billboard chart.
Yep.
Can't you just pretend to be nice?
I really like it. I think it's a great song. And again, like it really feels like it could be a hit. I really respect when they do that. They're like, this is the song that's a hit. Like, yeah, you are correct. This is a really good song.
I'm going to share my nerdness, which is that I am also a huge karaoke fan. We do karaoke parties and stuff, and I will regularly do at least one of these songs.
Oh, they're amazing. I definitely want to learn them on guitar for sure.
I've played a bass version of "I Wish You Well."
Aw.
Yeah.
Yes. I like "I Wish You Well."
It's a good song. All right. So then after the music video, they like have this moment of like, we're super famous. Isn't it weird? It's been like a week.
Oh yeah, and then Alan Cummings like getting ready to call in the death strike, but they're like, nah, whatever, which saves their lives.
It does. And let's see. Then there's Valerie watches a Captain and Tennille behind the music.
Yeah, because this is when they get their name changed to Josie and the Pussycats, when before they were just the Pussycats, and Valerie feels like she's being left behind, that she's not being respected as a member of the band.
And accurately so, she just misattributes the blame to Josie.
Yeah, like Josie is so kind of in her own head that she doesn't really notice that this is what's going on around her, because she's so nervous and has kind of this low self-esteem about whether she even deserves to be here at this spot. So, like, she is having kind of her own, like, panicking moment, not realizing the pain that Valerie's going through.
Right. And Melody is very much still, like, trying to keep everybody together while also just being along for the ride. And this has happened to, presumably, like, people who are about 19 in about a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really like that these are the motives for, like, why all of these things are happening. Because usually in, like, music docs, you know, when, like, someone is, like, being forgotten, like, everyone's kind of aware, trying to excuse it. I like that Josie is not aware of what's going on. She's just kind of dealing with her own problems. Yeah, it's a really good decision, I think.
I also think they do a good job of showing how Wyatt and Fiona are using Josie and the Pussycats. Like, I think that all three of the Pussycats and, you know, L&M and all the other external characters have a really good reason for why they're doing what they're doing. It makes complete sense. And it also shows them being exploited and how that happens. And that's just something that the music industry does to people.
Yeah, we find out, spoilers, we find out a little later that Fiona and Wyatt are themselves playing fake versions of themselves to
and
become
we'll
successful.
Get into that because that's a huge reveal.
Huge reveal. We do see parts of it, at least for Fiona, in the big gala celebration that they go to.
Yeah, but before we do, there's a Psycho reference with a very creepy McDonald's doll.
Yes, I do. Oh my god! Again, this is like the companies have to sign off on this, even if they didn't give money. Like, in order for this to be in theaters, McDonald's has to be like, we allow.
As far as we know, nobody got sued, so it wasn't allowed.
So you have to imagine that some representative from some of these companies went and saw them. Like, yeah, that's fine. We love that. We love that that's happening, and that's just so crazy to me.
Yeah. So basically, Melody is taking a shower and singing "If You're Happy and You Know It," and then someone comes into her room and writes a creepy message on her mirror.
Mm-hmm. Am I right in saying that this was produced by the same people that did Scream and all that, or am I?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I definitely got a vibe from that.
I'll have to look it up, but it's produced by Mark Platt, Tracy E. Edmonds, Chuck Grimes, and Tony DeRosa Grunt.
Okay, so maybe not, but I did very much get like Scream vibes, not just from that scene, but like how teens are kind of presented did very much give me, and also just Seth Green. You know,
I'm pretty sure it's referencing Scream, so I think that's intentional.
Yeah. But again, I think, but not just that scene. I think the whole movie kind of has this vibe of like kind of understanding like what it means to be like a teen or an older teen, which is not really something you see very often in movies. Like, you always get like 16 and then you get like 20s, but you don't really get to see girls like be between like 18 and 21. You know, that seems to be the age that like we just disappear before we become the cute secretary that falls in love with her boss.
And when we do see it, just like with all teenage girls, like things that are by and for teenage girls, a lot of times end up making fun of them, especially when it's done by men or by people who don't understand what it's like to have been a teenage girl.
Yeah. Like when we go to college, we don't take classes, apparently. We just show up when the male needs us to show up.
Well, I was told I went to the cute girl major when I went to college.
Yeah.
I was a media studies major.
Aw, same. I was also a media studies major.
And you were always a cute girl. You just didn't know it yet.
Oh, I know. Somewhere I did. I don't know. I was born a cis woman in Daytona many years ago.
What? I must have been getting us confused. That must have been me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you were born trans, while I grew up in Riverdale.
So how is L&M in real life?
Riverdale.
Sexy?
Yeah, they're actually Riverdale invented trans people through beautiful, amazing dark magic, and we stand Riverdale for creating us witches, which is what all trans women are witches. They don't tell you that in sex ed, but that's true.
Hey, I'm a member of our Witches Against Patriarchy, so I'm there for it.
I remember that, and that's a whole other story. Inside joke.
Anyway, moving right along.
Anyway,
so let's see. I have all of these notes, and I'm just trying to figure out where everything is. So we have. Josie's trying to get a date with Alan M. Mm-hmm. And Wyatt keeps being like, no, you're busy. No, you're busy. Fine, you can have this time sold to the man with no future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much not digging Alan M at all. Sees him as a nuisance. They have this this kind of cute moment in the aquarium. They go on an aquarium date, which might make it an anime. Aquarium dates are kind of the new Hot Spring episode of anime, so this could actually be an anime now because you go to the aquarium.
There is a manga version of Josie and the Pussycats.
That is not surprising to me at all. But she gets spotted by fans and does like this little like Hard Day's Night kind of thing.
They do an escape to the back of the aquarium where they almost kiss, but then a fan is in the aquarium tank taking a picture.
Mm-hmm. Awful. We do not like that. That's creepy. Don't do that.
Don't stalk people,
Don't
please.
stalk people. Unless it's me and you have written permission beforehand, then you can stalk me. That's fine.
I refuse to write any letters of permission for this, so
bring
you're
a note from your parent or doctor before stalking me. Then it'll be okay.
Okay, then.
That's how we met, actually.
You're going to have to refresh my memory on that one.
I will not at all. You remember. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, so at this point, Valerie has seen the Captain and Tennille video about how Captain and Tennille split up and is very upset that everything is Josie and the Pussycats. What about the rest of the Pussycats? She even hugs the target dog about it. And Wyatt is... he starts quoting another song. So you want to be a rock star, live large, nice, 5 cars. It's amazing, and just said with such a straight face.
You want to be a rock superstar?
Yeah,
that's great.
So he decides to book. I think we skipped the party scene. So. Yeah,
so the party scene is where Josie and the Pussycats meet Fiona finally, and she brings them back to her room, which is like an ode to repressed childhood trauma.
Yeah, she enters also doing her own like Broadway style song and dance number to one of their songs, and then let's go be girls. So then she takes them into the room, which is very much like what every 13-year-old girl would think would be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and also Madeline, who also thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
No, I think the room is legitimately cool.
Yeah.
But
it is also like, it is what like a child would think is cool. And also
covered in pictures of herself.
Yes.
Parker posing, looking great.
A lot of Hello Kitty stuff, which I know was made specifically for me, and I appreciate
small
that.
snacks. And this is where we get the body shaming, where Fiona starts being like, she lisps. She starts saying how much thinner she is to one-up Josie. Immediately tries to give Josie a back rub. Mm-hmm. All the other Pussycats and Josie, all the girls are like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Or, excuse me, WTF. What the fudge?
What the fudge? What the fuck?
So like this is the moment of body shaming where everyone's like,
yeah. And Melody like sums it up like perfectly because she's amazing and I love her.
Yeah, they go outside to debrief this weird moment, mm-hmm. and Melody is sitting in the ice sculpture.
Yeah, it's like oh.
She got chills. Valerie pointed out it's because she's sitting in the ice sculpture, and she's like, no, it's not the O, it's Fiona.
Beautiful. We love her.
Yes.
Um,
So jumping forward again a little bit. So this is now Valerie feeling very pushed aside, and Sneaky Wyatt is like, well, we've booked just you and Melody for TRL. And I want to take a moment here. I was just a little too young for this one, but I cannot tell you what a big deal TRL was in 2001.
Yeah, I was like, 2001. I was like 11, and I didn't really understand music all that well. I kind of became a music fan later in life. So this whole era just completely escaped me, but I also knew how popular it was. It was on every TV, like ever.
And everybody wanted to go on TRL with Carson Daly. Like, it was a huge thing. You couldn't really miss it, even if you weren't a fan.
Yeah, exactly. And this scene is funny. I want to, Meepy brought up this scene way early into the video. So finally we get to talk about this moment of them going to what they think is the TRL set, when in reality it is not.
Right. And Valerie is at first telling Josie, like, do you have a problem with this? And Josie's like, no, I want everyone to love you. Like, because Josie is a girl's girl.
Yeah, like Josie rocks, and Valerie is misinterpreting her silence as her condoning this, like,
pushing her forward.
Pushing her forward. But it's like, no, just Josie's got her own, she's got her own things going on. It's ain't about Valerie. She's freaking out about her own things. Yeah. But also it kind of shows that Josie does need to be more aware of things around her, because she's so focused in where she isn't noticing these other things that are kind of going on. But anyway, this leads to them kind of reconciling for a little bit. And they go off to TRL, and Alan Cumming wants her to listen to a remix of
by her Josie.
Josie, yes. And she's like, oh, but my love interest booked the show, and I was going to go see him. And Josie tries so hard to get out of this. And Alan Cumming just has to keep coming up with more and more bizarre reasons why she can't just ask Alan about what's going on.
As he's also making phone calls to the front desk to, like, give Josie the messages that she's asking for in the most transparent way. Like, nobody has any chill. Fiona also, like, says her secret messages out loud, and it's called on it.
Yeah.
There is no subtlety in this movie, and it's great.
Yeah, and it's like eventually Alan's just like, just shut up and listen to me. Just, you know what? You're not that great, or whatever he says.
You need to sit down and do your homework. You have to show you're committed. Mm-hmm. Not exactly that, but
yes.
So Alan M gets stood up, but Alexandra's there, which he's not thrilled about, and he's playing in front of the men's bathroom with people flushing, which I do love. Alexandra screaming, "Hold it till you get home."
Yeah, perfect. She's great. I love her.
So he is deeply disappointed that the girl he wished could be there wasn't at his show. And Josie is listening to this evil mixtape. Meanwhile, cut to fake TRL.
Fake TRL. They go to TRL, and everything is like a cardboard cutout audience. They just tape the words TRL to a board. Like everything's just completely fake. Aries Spears comes out and pretends to be Carson Daly. They're like, no, you're not Carson Daly. It's like, whoa, I can be whatever you want. I do impressions. And then the real Carson Daly comes out, and they're like, oh, okay, well, fine. The real Carson Daly's here. Maybe this is fine. But no, it turns out they're there to kill them with bats.
Yes. And so Aries Spears does a series of terrible impressions where Valerie is very much like, you're awful. And he gets really hurt. And then does a Bill Cosby impression right before we're like very seriously trying to murder her, which I can't tell if that joke has aged the best joke ever or the most poorly.
I think it's a little bit of both. It is crazy to think that Bill Cosby was the most beloved man in America not too long ago. I also like Carson Daly. and Melody having like their own meet cute while like he's trying to kill her.
Yeah, so like he's smashing into different cardboard figures as they're being like, "Do you like puppies? I love puppies."
Yeah, and then like Carson Daly's like, man, it's too bad I have to kill you, otherwise we could have had something. And he just like she smacks Carson Daly with one of the audience members,
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon's like, this is my kind of guy. It's Matt Damon, young as hell, Matt Damon too.
Yeah, this is Goodwill Hunting Matt Damon.
Goodwill Hunting Matt Damon.
No, she's like, I could never date a meanie like you. You, on the other hand, to cardboard Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm. So they go back trying to like warn Josie what's happening, but Josie has been listening to the brainwashing CD, which makes her an egomaniac.
Which, how you can tell, before you even get to anything she says, like her whole affect is very different. Up to this point, any of the makeover montages, she's been visibly uncomfortable and visibly like feeling skittish. Like you can really see it in Rachel Lee Cook's acting. Like she does actually a really good job. And in this one, someone's doing her nails, someone else is like doing her toenails, and she's just like looking down on everybody and also wearing leopard print pajamas and just like silk and like, I totally deserve this.
Yeah, no, she pulls off the transformation.
Without any words.
No, like just, really pulls it off. Insults Valerie and Melody. She says to Melody, "Is like, I want you to know that puppies grew up to be dogs and then they die because they're old." Which, I don't know, that made me cry too. Like, oh my God.
As I am surrounded by my 3 dogs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they do like a sad montage where Melody's like surrounded by puppies and she's like...
Yeah. The other thing that she does to Valerie, so the way that Valerie has comforted Josie a couple times up till this point, when Josie hasn't been doing well, is to say, like, who's a rock star? And then Josie's like, I am. And it's like this cute thing they do. So then Josie's like, who's a rock star? I am. Just like, completely
awful. Oh my
using
God.
it against her.
And they just leave completely disgusted.
And like emotionally destroyed. Everybody is sad. Everybody is having sad moments. Alexander is sad because of consumerism.
Yes. Alexander is,
Everybody else is sad because reasons. Alexander is sad because...
Alexander was sad because he wanted a pair of pants when the store was closed, I think is the joke.
Oh, it was also because it matched the clothes he was already wearing.
So he's sad.
He's passé now.
This is the third act where everyone's sad moment. And
then the movie becomes a horror movie for a moment. Again, after the Psycho reference. Now, Josie gets up and she's still very clearly brainwashed, but she's also like, something's weird.
She's listening to this CD on a Walkman. A Walkman was a Walkman was a way to take. Okay, so we used to have these things called CDs, and you would put them into a machine that you could carry with you. It didn't take phone calls. It didn't play Tetris on it. It was a very old machine, but it did play CDs.
There you go. It's what we now use our phones for.
In case we have Gen Alpha viewers, which I'm not sure if we do.
So Josie starts walking around the city at night in stripper heels and the silk pajama set.
Mm-hmm. Just like the opposite of anything she would ever wear in her life.
I do have to say, though, she is walking in those heels, which is probably more than I can do. And, no shade to strippers. We support sex work here. Mm-hmm. But they are very clearly like high stilettos that have like plastic heels. And yeah, she's just walking and doing her thing. And the screen around her starts to wave and distort. The music becomes more sinister.
Because her friendship is defeating the evil messaging that she's listening to through the CD. And finally, something happens where she trips.
Those heels, the
heels that kill us all. And she doesn't listen to the CD, and she kind of realizes,
what have I done?
Yes. And she...
As the screen has melted
around her. What happens next in the movie?
Her wallet falls open because she's fallen.
Yes, that's right. And she's like fallen, and she sees the
apocryphal bus pass.
We get the
callback to the three of them in the bus pass picture.
We get the gun comes back.
It does. Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun comes back, and that reminds her of her friendship with them, and she runs back up to her room.
And she can't find them, but she does find Alexander and Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, there is something really wrong. I need your help. And Alexandra's like, why should I help you? And Jesse's like, it's really important. So they grumble and go along with her.
Mm-hmm. They do. And
they go back to the studio
yes.
where they find the mega sound.
The mind control device and discover
the mind controlling mixer.
That's right. There's the moment where they're listening back to the CD to try and figure out like what's off about it, and they find the missing subliminal message track. And Alexandra has a funny line here. If you wanna, I don't know if you're
go for it.
She says something like, "It's like, wow, that's kind of like conceited of you to say that in your song," or some kind of line like that. And she's like, "I didn't put that in the song. That's not me."
Yeah, it's the
because it's the movie phone guy.
Yeah,
like, oh, you got the movie phone guy. It's like you didn't tell me you got the movie phone guy.
You slept with him.
Yes, that's what happened. That's the line.
She accuses Josie of sleeping with Mr. Movie Phone to get him to do the subliminal messaging track.
And Mr. Movie Phone was the guy. You gotta understand. Every girl wanted to be Mrs. Movie Phone.
News to me.
Well, that's because you gotta call the phone. If you'd like to be my number one with the bullet, press 5 now. Hey, baby, I'm Mr. Movie Phone. I don't know why he became a B-52 at the end there, but
we're a rock lobster. It's fun. So they discover the evil track, and they're about to like expose it to the world as they have this great big concert coming up when they're discovered. And they're basically Valerie and Melody have been kidnapped by Fiona and Wyatt, and basically they're going to force Josie to perform it, otherwise they'll kill Josie and Valerie and Melody, because they will show them in a car crash, and they show the MTV News movie clip because everything is branded.
That's right, and everything is preordained. They've already made the behind the music of what's going to happen to them if they fail and all this stuff.
Very threatening.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dun 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 that like somebody says, and then there's an actual like dun 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 in the music sound, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so Fiona does her evil villain speech.
Yep.
And you know the general is there clapping, and then she's like, "And you'll get yours." And then the general is like, "What?" Like every time she says something under her breath, he calls her out again.
Yeah. That's when they were still in the evil lair.
They do it there, and they do it a little bit here too. She's like everywhere.
Right. It just needs to be quiet. Don't say the things.
That's not this movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to help out the villain of the movie.
Okay, you keep giving her cues.
I'm trying to help out Parker Posey.
As long as we don't help Posey Parker.
Poser, you said it.
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey. Like the opposite of Beetlejuice. It's a nice thing to say.
We have to flip it around.
Yeah.
So they're raising her up on the Sega stage to play at the performance.
Good for Sega. What an investment. It also appears to be the Gibson Amphitheater, which is now a Harry Potter ride. So that sucks.
Universal made this picture, people.
I love that. Universal's made some of my favorite cult movies like ever, so I appreciate that.
So as the platform is slowly being raised up, Du jour comes back.
Oh my god. And the one member who is not a famous actor is surrounded by 3 actors who are conveniently injured in cast, so you don't have to bring those actors back again for a scene.
They're in full body cast, including the monkey.
We find out that they actually landed safely. They just landed at a Metallica concert, and those metalheads, they just hate those boy bands.
Except for Lars, because he knew all the lyrics
to Enter Sandman, which saved him, I guess.
He was still beaten up, but you could see it was him.
I mean, it's Enter Sandman. Come on, it's not like he was reciting Ride the Lightning or something like that.
There you go. So they try to fight and are immediately taken out. But then,
but it distracts them long enough for Josie to untie her friends and save them.
Right. So then we have a extended fight scene where Fiona and Josie get into a slap fight. Valerie starts just punching people. And
Does some wrestling moves, which is pretty rad.
Yeah. She definitely like does some like clothes hanger stuff. It's pretty awesome. And then Melody knows kung fu.
It checks out. Yeah.
And the song "Wild One" plays in the background. So they beat them all up, and then Josie and the Pussycats, the band, goes up and plays all together, and they have a moment where Josie gets her big.
No, but you're skipping the most important part.
Please.
Before they go up and all play together, they destroy the mind control device, and this is where we learn the true story of Fiona and Wyatt.
Yes, you're right.
Which I will let you do.
So they destroy the device. Fiona is losing her mind, and her lisp starts to come back. And Wyatt recognizes her lisp as, instead of being Fiona, she is lisping Lisa. And then he reveals himself as White-Ass Wally.
Because he was albino, and apparently they went to the same high school, and he was pretending to be British to be cool.
And also thin, and she was pretending not to have horribly messed up teeth.
Yes, and he was also bald, and he had a wig, or he had weird hair.
Yeah, and also, white skin. It's very clearly
Yes.
like Alan Cumming has a white makeup rag and just wipes the white onto his skin. But so they start the most awkward makeout when the general comes up, and Josie's like, "Oh my God, they're trying to brainwash all the kids in America. Arrest them!" And he's like, "Yeah, arrest them."
and in true American fashion, reveals that they were just going to take control of all of it anyway.
Yeah. And that someone has to be the fall guy.
Someone has to be the fall guy.
And the best way to do subliminal messages is in movies. Josie and the Pussycats is the best movie ever.
It is.
Anyway, so then they go up to do their final concert. And Josie has her speech about, decide for yourself if you like it, after having the audience take on and put off their cat ears. Because
The cat ears were supposed to mind control everybody. That was the plan, but because they destroyed the device, the stuff just stopped working.
Yeah, it also forced people to just buy more shit to be able to go to the concert, much like many concerts do now.
I do like Carson Daly does a joke where I've bought 2 of them and actually puts 2 of the cat ears on, which was very funny.
I also this is a completely random aside. I don't know why people liked him so much. The dude has very little charisma to me.
I never got it either. He's just kind of like a weird guy.
He's just a dude.
Yeah. He's the most maybe that's why everybody in America can agree that he is just a guy. There's nothing controversial about that. He's just a guy, just a dude. In 2001 America, that's what we needed. We needed just a guy that was uninteresting and bland like Carson Daly.
I'll stick to saltines. Anyway, so they play the song "Spin Around," and at first the band, the audience is completely dead. Nobody's reacting at all, which is a very weird thing because it's just like a poppy song, and everyone's just like. But by the time they hit the pre-chorus, everybody starts to dance, and then Alan M. crowd surfs to the front.
I love this exchange because of how long it goes on. It's extremely funny. They have this full conversation while he's crowd surfing and she's on the stage.
And Valerie is doing a rad bass solo.
Yeah.
And Melody, they're carrying the rest of it through.
And that's when Alan finally confesses his love, and they get together, and I think they kiss, right?
They make out very awkwardly on stage.
Good for them.
I mean, you do what you can. Alexandra is very upset by this, but the guy from Du Jour, Lars, he's there sticking his casted arm over her shoulder.
There you go. Good for happy endings for everyone.
And they play "Spin Around," which is a great song, and apparently Josie and the Pussycats are now famous all on their own.
Yeah. Thank God they were all so good at music.
Yes.
And people liked the music that they played.
Spin around and around and around and
And this is where we get to the credits with the really funny bloopers and outtakes. And yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, and they do like a rock version of the Josie and the Pussycats theme. Mozart's coming back. So we have taken a very long time, probably almost as long as the movie, to describe the movie.
Yep.
But, you know, so I think, you know, at this point, like, we'll kind of wrap up pretty soon. But, like, why do we think this movie is interesting?
I love this movie because it really, like, goes, like, completely forward. Like, it goes for it with its concept. It really does everything you want from, like, a high concept movie like this. It's weird when it needs to be weird. It's emotional when it needs to be emotional. And, you know, it does feel real. You know, like, the movie is a satire about things being fake and corporate, and it's also itself just a corporate reboot of an old franchise that nobody really cares about anymore, unfortunately.
And spoilers, it gets rebooted again in Riverdale, and then Katie Keene.
Exactly. But like, I like that it does just commit to everything that it's doing, and it just feels like really genuine. Like, it really does feel like a movie made by women for women. It really does present, like, female friendship in a way that I just still, to this day, you really don't see that often.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, as an Archie Comics fan, as, like, a music fan who I also love the band Letters to Cleo, so, like, you know, it was all of the things that I wanted at the time, even if I didn't get all the references. And coming back and watching it as an adult and how much of it holds up, there are a few jokes where there are, like, a few ableism or fat phobia stuff here and there. Like, it's not a perfect movie, but it's pretty close, and especially, you know, coming up on more than 20 years later. And it centers female friendship and being genuine while also being a really hard-hitting takedown of capitalism and exploitation in the music industry.
Yeah, and the Pussycats are just, like, extremely relatable and also really cool. I could imagine that if I had seen this as a kid, I would probably want to, like, be them or be friends with them because they just seemed like the coolest people. Mm-hmm. Which is really awesome. And yeah, it makes sense that they all went on or were at some point, like, really successful in their careers because, like, yeah, everyone does such an amazing job in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, so both Rosario Dawson and Rachel Lee Cook have gone on. They're both doing, like, a career resurgence right now. Rachel Lee Cook's done a bunch of, like, rom-coms. Rosario Dawson came back probably a little bit earlier. I'd say my guess would probably be around, like, the Daredevil show, mm-hmm. and has really just spun off from there. But she's been acting consistently in smaller and indie movies throughout this whole time. Tara Reid, unfortunately, kind of faded out of the public zeitgeist, but she had her moment.
Yeah, she did, and we'll always have Sharknado 3 and 2 and 1.
I mean, and really, who could ask for anything more?
No one.
You know, and, you know, Alan Cumming, Parker Posey, they were already heavy hitters before. Missy Pyle's been in so many things. Like Gabriel Mann, who played Alan M., he was in Revenge as the prissy gay man who was also her sidekick in Getting Revenge on Everybody.
Okay, absolutely. Meepy chimes in with Alan made me gay. So
congratulations.
We love that for you.
Good. And apparently made the actor play gay roles later, so good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the cast is spot on. It all feels very... Yeah, it has an indie feel to it, despite, you know, its concept, its budget, it's kind of what it wanted to be. And yeah, it does sound like it was just very much mismarketed. I do remember, like, the marketing was like, oh, this looks like something for, like, kid girls or whatever. Like, it seems younger, but, like, watching it again, like, I remember, like, the closest I saw was, like, an advertisement in, like, either a kids magazine or, like, they used to, I guess they still do, but, like, LA Times would have, like, a calendar section that you would see where all the movies were, and I remember seeing the Josie and the Pussycats and being like, oh yeah, this looks like whatever. So when I found out it became a cult hit, I was very surprised because, like, oh, that kind of just looked like a nothing movie. But hey, it was just so poorly marketed because they, with movies like this that, again, that are for a target demographic that companies don't really like to support, it's really difficult for them to find a way to market to them, because like they know how to deal with preteens. They have a Nickelodeon, they have a Disney thing to make that kind of happen. But to make a film that's like for people between like their late teens, early 20s, it's just not something that they have like an exact recipe for, like they do with some of the other I mean, there's a reason they call it like, 18 to 24, and they call it whatever. Like, it's, especially with women. Like, with women, they either try to make movies that are like only for like the youngest child possible, or for like older women that they want to sell anti-aging creams or whatever too.
And that's if they put any effort into them at
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
And that kind of brings me to our next question, which is the movie good? Because, so the thing about this podcast or this show that we're going to be doing, not all of the media is going to be good. And that's less of a serious question for us than is it interesting?
Yeah. Which has always been kind of the theme of my channel, too, is that while I do talk about whether a piece of media is good or bad, in my opinion, I'm much more interested in, like, what makes the movie work, what it's trying to say. Like, I find analyzing something like Josie and the Pussycats to be much more fulfilling than just saying whether it's good or bad. All of that being said, this is very good. I really, really like this movie.
Yeah, no, I have loved it, and I continue to love it, having rewatched it recently, and I watched it with my partner, and he thought it was really funny, and he'd never seen it before either, so this whole experience is worth it, if nothing else to convince my partner and one of my very best friends to watch a movie I really like.
There you go. Yeah, I'm so happy. This is one of those films that's been on my list for forever, so I love that I had an excuse to finally watch it, and I'm like, within the first, like, 30 seconds, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm messaging Jess saying I love every part of this movie.
I'm referencing things before she's seen it.
Yeah, you said jerking before I even got to the part where they say jerking. We're bringing it back. Bring back jerking. I guess jerking never really left, to be fair.
I mean, this movie actually did have an impact. Like, the characters' last names have changed. Like, the ones in Riverdale actually did use the last names from the movie rather than from the comic. And then since the comic has changed, it's also relaunched in 2016. So, and it's also, the movie's gotten reevaluated because it has this cult following. Like, it's one of those movies that people didn't get at the time, but it's legitimately good. And if you watch it knowing what you're getting, you'll have a really good time with it.
That does kind of lead into what our next podcast is going to be. But until then, do we have any final thoughts?
I think we've more or less covered everything. I think, thank you all so much for being here, for letting me on your channel, Madeline. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, give it up for Jess. One of my best friends in the entire world. I'd be in a different place without her, and she's amazing, and I'm so happy to finally have you on,
Well, and I look forward to do this every month.
Every month. So, yeah. We're going to be doing the Cootie Cast at the end of every month. Meepy's very excited in the chat.
Yay!
We love them. We're going to be doing this every month where we're going to pick a new piece of media targeted to women. And
so, like, we're going to be broad. It's not only going to be movies or TV, books, whatever we're feeling. We might not, if we're doing TV, we might not do a whole series. We might just pick a couple episodes, but we'll let you know in advance what those are.
Exactly. But for next episode, I got to pick this one. And speaking of movies that were not well received
or well marketed
during their time, I am so excited to show Jess Jennifer's Body, one of my favorite movies of all time, a film that the critics got completely wrong. I think it's a masterpiece, and I cannot wait to talk about it next month with you.
Me too. Honestly, like, this is one of those movies that's missed my film education, because I've seen like scenes from it and I know what it's about, but I've never actually watched it.
Yeah, the trailer makes it look like the worst movie ever made. which is why I didn't catch it the first time. But I revisited it about a year ago, and I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Every critic is wrong. And I showed it to my roommate Chris, who was also like, yeah, this is really good. So even the guys like it. Even the guys like, this is so cool.
And it'll be interesting to also compare and contrast, because I think, from what I understand, what both of them deal with, both Josie and the Pussycats and Jennifer's Body, are teenage girls being manipulated and used.
Yeah. And also for Jennifer's Body, it's the idea of women taking control of their bodies, and why men are just so terrified of that. It's a very cool movie, and I cannot wait to talk about it.
I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you all so much for joining us. I think that's
it. Thank you so much. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Reminding everyone that I do also have super chats open, so during streams, if you'd like to donate some money, that's something you can do. I also have a Patreon at madelinemaye, where you can join and support what I do. The more support I get there, the more of these kind of things you'll see. If I make more money, I'm going to make more of these things. I want to again thank Jess for taking time out of her very busy schedule to be on, and we will see all of you next month. And until then, 6 full hours, 5 whole days.
6 whole hours and 5 long days till all your lies have come undone.
Do you know Jess was a singer too? I don't know if we mentioned that. Anyway, bye everyone.